about how to answer a problem question when it comes to your exam, right? So if you get a problem question, your structure should always be simple. I really wish I had a whiteboard. So first, you need to identify the issue. Did the person have capacity despite mental illness, right? That's the first thing that you need to do. You need to be able to identify the issue. Did they have capacity despite mental illness? And secondly, you need to be able to define. So once you have identified the problem and you know that you're dealing with mental illness, so now you start your answer with a definition. You give us the definition of what mental illness is, if you've identified that it's mental illness. And then if it's mental illness with an extension of lucid interval, define them both so that your marker understands that you know what you're talking about. You're not just guessing. Give the definition of mental illness. Give the definition of what lucid interval is. You can even give an example, right? Also depending on the mark allocation. And then number 2 or number 3, you must state the rule. A person must understand the nature and consequences of the act. If mental illness prevents this, then the act is invalid, right? That's your rule, right? And then number 4, I think we're on number 4 now. And then you must apply the facts. What was the person doing? Did they understand? Was there evidence of confusion, delusion, incapacity, or a lucid interval, right? You apply the facts to your particular scenario, okay? And then number 5 or 6, wherever I am, then you conclude whether it's valid or invalid. For example, you can conclude and say, Sipho sold his car while believing that the car was a living creature and that the buyer was rescuing it from planet Z. Here you would say you would say Sipho likely lacked capacity because he did not understand the true nature of the sale. Therefore, the contract may be void. Simple as all that, right? So let's maybe summarize this so that you can get like a brief understanding on what this whole session was about. So this whole session was about mental illness affecting status and capacity. Okay, because the law requires a person to understand the nature and the consequences of their legal acts. So a mentally ill person is not automatically incapable, but where the illness prevents proper understanding at the time of the act may be void, right? So the burden of proving incapacity rests on the person that's alleging it. Always remember that. A mentally ill person may still perform valid acts during a lucid interval. Where did we get that from? In Lange versus Lange case, the court confirmed that mental capacity depends on whether the person understood the nature and the consequences of the act. When a person cannot manage their own affairs, the court may appoint a curator boni, a curator persona, or a curator ad litem, right? Mental illness may also affect litigation, holding office, criminal liability, and delictual liability. Do you have questions? Drop them down in the comment section. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to get a VIP access, get a Teams call, 101 Teams call with me, join and become a member. If you want me to help with your assignment, join and become a member. If you want to be my friend, join and become a member. Thank you so much for joining and enjoy the rest of your day, your afternoon, or your evening, and see you on the next session. Thank you and have a good one.